He found Phantom shooting arrow after arrow at Netherockus, who was using what appeared to be pyrokinetics to combat her. Jake was 50 blocks away, but couldn't help as he was locked in combat with Gemini. Jake's diamond sword was broken, and he was using his iron sword to combat the bounty hunter. Xbox grabbed Phantom's diamond sword and charged the mercenary, but instead of hitting him, he hit Netherrack? He turned and could only watch as Netherrack encased him. Then he heard a noise of metal on metal and heard Phantom's shrill scream. The thought of Phantom being in danger gave him an adrenaline boost, and he hacked Netherrack to pieces. Then he saw what had made Phantom scream. There on the ground was Jake's body and his inventory. Equinox and Netherockus were nowhere to be found. Gemini, likewise, was gone. Then Abyss, Dread, and Dark came towards them, but stopped when they saw Phantom. Dread and Abyss tackled Xbox, while Dark spoke gently to Phantom. "Don't worry," he said. "We have your brother's murderer right here." "What? No," she said. "It's not Xbox. It was Gemini." Who is he, by the way?" Dark said. "My guess is a bounty hunter," Xbox replied. Phantom looked at him. "What's that?" "Someone who gets hired by someone else to capture or kill someone for money. But I don't know who hired him, and I don't have many enemies." "Well," Phantom, Stark. "Now," she said, "we avenge Jake." Chapter 2. 500 blocks away, Gemini, Equinox, and Netherockus were debating what to do. "We should go back and capture them," Equinox argued. "We had them." "Are you insane? They would have killed you." "Yeah, that's one thing we have to talk about," Netherockus said. "You can teleport. We had to run all the way here." "Oh, and one more thing," Equinox said, standing up. "Don't you ever speak to me like that again." "Or what?" Gemini challenged. In response, Equinox shoved him, and before Gemini could reach girl, not much older than he was. She had brown eyes, and her footsteps made purple and pink blocks appear. "You wouldn't hit me, would you, Gemini?" Magenta." Gemini could barely speak. He dropped both swords, and Magenta disappeared, flying towards him. He shot backwards into the dirt. He looked up into the smiling face of Equinox and his enchanted diamond sword. "If you ever try that trick again," Gemini warned, "I'll kill you." "Well," said Equinox, "I guess the feeling's mutual then." Guys," said Netherockus, "we have company." Both players turned and saw 6 figures bearing down on them. Gemini had never fought against 2 players at once, but, he thought, there's always time for everything. He teleported behind one player who looked like a ghost and slashed him in the back. The other player was a girl. She was pretty in an intimidating way. He teleported behind her and attempted to slash her or even stab her, but she saw this and turned, blocking his sword, and roundhouse kicked him. He got up and teleported to Netherockus' side, who had used his powers to encase Xbox in netherbrick. As soon as he teleported to Netherockus, he felt extremely tired. He knew that there were still 4 players out there. Then Equinox fell next to him. A park ranger wielding a trident stood over him. Gemini stabbed in a chink of the ranger's armor and pulled back his sword. He turned to face Equinox. "You owe me one," he said. Equinox pulled out a bow and arrow and aimed at something over Gemini's shoulder. There was a thud, and where their once prisoner Abyss stood was now a pile of items. "No," said Equinox. I don't. Then he collapsed. In his back was an arrow. A girl stood 5 blocks away, fury etched on her face. Then he heard a grunt, and Netherockus fell forward. Xbox had somehow gotten out and held a stone sword in hand. He wore an iron chestplate and helmet. He lunged at Gemini, but who easily blocked, and with the force of his blade sent him into the girl's oncoming arrow. His chestplate absorbed the blow, but he lay on the ground, unmoving. Xbox, I'm sorry, said the girl. She turned to face Gemini. You'll pay for that. Gemini shrugged. Okay. And waited as she charged. He had fought He raised his sword, then another blade blocked his. Gemini looked up and saw Xbox blocking him. He pulled out another iron sword and broke the stone weapon in half. Then he felt pain in his chest. His chest plate, he would have been. He looked down and saw the girl getting on her feet. Phantom, Xbox called. He's dual wielding. Then Phantom did something unexpected. She kicked Gemini away and tossed her sword to Xbox. Phantom pulled out her bow, knocked an arrow, and fired. Gemini raised his sword and he blocked the first arrow, but the other sank into his shoulder. He dropped one sword and grasped the other feebly. Phantom calmly walked over, picked up his sword, and said, I'm out of arrows. But we can take him. Gemini saw that she was serious, and so with one last look at both of them, he thought of a jungle temple and teleported away. When Gemini disappeared, Xbox saw that immediately Phantom fell to the ground. He saw that she was pale. Don't have strength, she croaked. Potion of healing in my pocket. Xbox retrieved it and gave it to her. When she drank it, Xbox saw the color return to her face. I still don't know, she said. I don't know. Meanwhile, in the jungle temple, only 30 blocks north, Gemini had retrieved all the loot and prepared to leave. Then he stopped and put some TNT Netherockus had given him 1 year ago around the now empty chest, where it would be hidden but still deadly. And he placed redstone all around so that whoever opened the chest would experience a loud demise.